There's a beautiful journey waiting for every single one of us. The journey of becoming the best version of ourselves. But most people never take that journey because they're too busy trying to become someone else. We compare, we compete, we chase, but we forget to become. My dear friends, life is not about being better than others. It's about being better than who you were yesterday. The real competition is not outside, it's within you. Every morning when you look in the mirror, you should ask yourself, am I growing? Am I improving? Am I becoming a little wiser, kinder, and calmer than I was yesterday? You see, we all want results. We want success, respect, money, peace, but very few want to fall in love with the vast process of becoming better. We want the fruit, but we don't want to nurture the tree. We want the destination, but we don't enjoy the walk. And that's where life teaches us the biggest lesson. If you fall in love with the us becoming, the results will come naturally. Think of it like this. A flower never forces itself to bloom. It simply grows every single day, silently, patiently, consistently. It doesn't compare itself with another flower. It just keeps becoming more of what it already is. And one day, it blossoms so beautifully that everyone turns to admire it. You too are like that flower. You just need to nurture your growth every single day. Don't rush your journey. Don't hate your mistakes. Don't fear your slow progress. Every experience, every setback, every challenge is shaping you into something greater. Sometimes life breaks you, not to destroy you, but to rebuild you stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Fall in love with learning. Fall in love with discipline. Fall in love with patience. Fall in love with the version of yourself that no one has met yet. Because when you do, life becomes less about achieving and more about evolving. Ask yourself, what if I stopped chasing perfection and started embracing progress? What if I celebrated small wins? What if I became my own cheerleader instead of my biggest critic? You would begin to see beauty in your growth, not in your comparison. Remember, my friends, there will always be someone more talented, more intelligent, or more successful than you. But no one can ever be you. That's your power. You are a masterpiece in progress. And every brushstroke, every color, every imperfection adds to your story. So today, make a promise to yourself that you will no longer chase who others think you should be. You will grow into who you were meant to be. Don't fall in love with the idea of being perfect. Fall in love with the effort, the learning, the transformation. Because the best version of you is not something you find, it's something you build moment by moment, choice by choice, day by day. And when you finally meet that version of yourself, the one who's grateful, peaceful, and fulfilled, you'll realize that the real joy was never in reaching the top. It was in becoming the person who had the courage to climb. We live in a world where comparison has become a daily habit. From the moment we wake up, we start measuring our worth against others. Someone has a better car, a bigger house, more followers, a higher salary, or simply seems happier, and we start to feel small. We begin to believe that life is a race, and our success depends on how fast we can catch up to someone else. But here's a truth that can completely transform your mindset. The real competition is not outside, it's within you. Every person's journey is unique. Every path has its own timing, challenges, and lessons. But when we constantly compare ourselves with others, we forget our individuality. We forget that the purpose of life is not to become someone else. It is to become the best version of who we already are. The person you should try to beat every day is not your neighbor, your colleague, or your friend. It's a you from yesterday. Think about it. When you compete with others, you focus on their strengths and your weaknesses. You start to copy their path, losing your own direction. But when you compete with yourself, you focus on your growth, your values, and your purpose. That kind of competition doesn't bring stress. It brings peace. Because instead of chasing approval, you start chasing improvement. Let's take an example. Imagine a runner on a track. If he keeps looking at the person beside him, he might lose balance, slow down, or even fall. But if he keeps his eyes on his lane, focused on his stride, and runs with full energy, he will finish strong. Regardless of who finishes first, life works the same way. When you focus on your race, you grow stronger faster and more confident. Not because you're winning against others, but because you're overcoming your own limits. The greatest leaders, thinkers, and spiritual teachers all share one quality. They constantly worked on themselves. They weren't obsessed with being better than others. They were obsessed with being better than they were yesterday. Whether it was discipline, patience, kindness, or wisdom, they kept evolving. That's why they became timeless. But why is it so hard to stop comparing? Because our minds are trained to measure. Since childhood, we've been taught to rank first place, second place, top student, best performer. Society made us believe that self-worth is a number, that you're only valuable if you're better than. But life is not a competition, it's a contribution. You don't need to win against others to make your life meaningful. You need to grow into the person who contributes value, kindness, and love. Let me tell you something powerful. When you compete with yourself, you turn every day into an opportunity for progress. You begin to ask deeper questions. How can I think more positively today? How can I be a little kinder to others? How can I manage my anger better than I did yesterday? How can I become more disciplined, more grateful, more patient? These are the real questions that build character, not comparison. True success is not measured by how many people you've surpassed, but by how many weaknesses you've conquered within yourself. Have you learned to control your temper? Have you learned to stay calm in chaos? Have you learned to forgive, to let go, to stay grounded in humility even when you succeed? These are the invisible victories, the ones that shape your inner world. And remember, your inner world creates your outer world. If your mind is peaceful, your life becomes peaceful. If your thoughts are filled with gratitude, your life begins to feel abundant. That's why inner competition is far more powerful than external competition. It builds strength from the inside out. When you stop competing with others, you free yourself from unnecessary pressure. You stop living for likes, opinions, and validation. You start living for growth, purpose, and peace. You stop running behind success and start attracting it naturally. Because success isn't about being ahead of others. It's about being aligned with your true self. Many people spend their whole lives chasing someone else's dream, becoming a shadow of another person's light. But when you compete with yourself, you create your own light. You stop asking, how can I be like them? And start asking, how can I bring out the best in me? Every morning, you get a new chance to reset your race. A new opportunity to improve one habit, one thought, one reaction. You don't need to transform your life overnight. You just need to be a little better every day. A little wiser in your choices, a little more grateful for your blessings, a little more mindful in your actions. That's how real growth happens, quietly, gradually, consistently. Even when you fail, and you will, Remember that failure is part of self-competition. It's not a sign that you're losing, it's proof that you're learning. Every failure teaches you something that success never can. It teaches humility, resilience, and patience. Competing with yourself means accepting your flaws and using them as fuel to grow stronger. When you focus on your journey, you begin to appreciate others too. You realize that everyone is fighting their own battles. You stop judging, you stop envying, and you start inspiring. You start celebrating others' wins without feeling insecure because you know that their success doesn't reduce your value. Their light doesn't dim yours. In fact, when you shine together, the world becomes brighter. Let's not forget, inner growth is not a straight road. There will be days when you feel lost, tired, or unmotivated. That's okay. Growth is not about being perfect every day. It's about showing up even when it's hard. Competing with yourself means never giving up on the process, no matter how slow it feels. The moment you shift your focus inward, you begin to notice something beautiful: peace. The constant anxiety to prove yourself starts fading away. You start enjoying your journey. You begin to feel grateful for how far you've come. And that gratitude becomes your greatest motivation to keep moving forward. So, if you truly want to live a fulfilled life, stop asking, "Am I better than them?" And start asking, "Am I better than I was yesterday?" Because when you grow from within, success becomes effortless. You won't need to chase recognition, it will find you. The best competition is with your own potential. You are not in this world to outshine others, you are here to outgrow yourself. Every version of you deserves to evolve, from doubt to confidence, from anger to peace, from fear to faith. The real victory is not when others applaud you. The real victory is when you look in the mirror and feel proud of who you've become, knowing that you didn't give up, you didn't settle, and you didn't let your past define your future. So, my friend, stop running someone else's race. Turn your attention inward. Every morning, remind yourself, "I am my only competition." And every night, before you sleep, ask yourself, "Did I grow today? Did I learn something new? Did I love a little more? Did I forgive a little faster?" If the answer is yes, then you've already won the day. Because when you master the art of competing with yourself, you no longer chase greatness. You become it. We all want to become better, more confident, more successful, more peaceful, more loved. But most of us fall into a trap. We want tons results without the process. We want the transformation, but not the time it takes. We want to reach the top of the mountain, but we don't want to climb. And that's where so many of us go wrong. We chase perfection instead of progress. We chase the reward instead of falling in love with the journey. To truly grow, you must fall in love with as becoming. Because becoming is not a one-day act, it's a lifelong art. It's the quiet, consistent effort of improving, not because someone is watching, not because you'll be rewarded, but because it feels right. It's about knowing that who you are today doesn't define who you can be tomorrow. Think about a sculptor. When he looks at a block of stone, he doesn't see just a rough surface. He sees the statue hidden inside. With every strike of his chisel, he removes what doesn't belong, slowly shaping something beautiful. That's what the process of becoming looks like. Removing your doubts, fears, and old habits to reveal the masterpiece within you. But here's the challenge: the process is rarely comfortable. Growth hurts, change feels heavy, discipline feels dull, progress feels slow. There will be days when you'll question why you started, days when nothing seems to move forward, days when you feel like giving up. But those are the exact moments that shape your strength. The fire that purifies gold is the same fire that makes you shine. When you fall in love with becoming, you stop expecting overnight miracles. You stop judging yourself for not being there yet. You begin to appreciate small wins. Reading one more page, meditating 5 more minutes, being a little kinder today than yesterday. Because growth is not measured in giant leaps, it's built in tiny steps that no one notices but you. Look at nature. A tree doesn't grow in a day. It faces storms, loses leaves, endures seasons, and still keeps growing silently. That's what self-development looks like. You might not see progress every day, but something within you is changing. Your patience, your thoughts, your awareness. Slowly, you're becoming stronger, wiser, more peaceful. The truth is, most people give up too early because they expect quick rewards. But real transformation takes time. You can't plant a seed today and expect a flower tomorrow. You have to water it, care for it, and wait. And the beauty is, while you're waiting, you're growing too. The process is not just building your future, it's building you. Falling in love with becoming also means learning to enjoy solitude. Growth often happens in silence. When no one is clapping, when no one sees your effort. It's during those quiet hours that your character strengthens. The gym of the soul has no audience. The applause comes much later. So don't rush your journey for validation. Keep walking, keep building, keep trusting. Another beautiful part of the process is failure. We fear failure so much that we often stop trying. But when you fall in love with the process, failure becomes your teacher, not your enemy. Every failure whispers lessons that success can't. It humbles you, it toughens you, it clarifies your purpose. And when you rise after falling, you rise with wisdom. Many people chase motivation, but motivation fades. What lasts is discipline. Falling in love with the process means showing up even when you don't feel like it. It's about saying, I'll try again today, even when yesterday didn't go well. That's what separates dreamers from doers. Let's understand something. When you fall in love with the process, life becomes less about achieving and more about evolving. You stop seeing growth as a destination and start seeing it as a way of living. Every experience becomes a teacher. Every mistake becomes a lesson. Every challenge becomes an invitation to rise higher. And you begin to realize that the process itself is beautiful. It's in your early mornings when you choose peace over chaos. It's in the moments you forgive instead of holding grudges. It's in the times you choose patience when anger seems easier. Every small act of self-control is a step toward the best version of you. Even your struggles are sacred. Because without them, you wouldn't discover your inner strength. Without darkness, light wouldn't have meaning. Without pain, growth wouldn't be possible. So, don't curse the process. Cherish it. Because the process is the proof that you're alive, learning, evolving, becoming. Here's something powerful. When you fall in love with becoming, you stop chasing happiness as a goal. Happiness becomes your companion along the way. You begin to enjoy the journey itself, the learning, the effort, the patience. You start living in the present moment, realizing that every step you take toward your higher self is success. Ask yourself, what if life isn't about reaching a perfect version of me? What if it's about continuously becoming? What if my purpose is not to be flawless, but to keep growing, loving, and learning until my last breath? Then, every day becomes meaningful. Every challenge becomes worthwhile. So, my friend, don't wait for perfection to start. Start messy, start scared, Start unsure, but start. Don't wait for approval. Your journey doesn't need an audience. The process itself is your proof of progress. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, patience over pressure, love over fear, you are becoming. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize that the moments you thought were slow, hard, and painful, those were the moments that built you. They carved your strength, shaped your wisdom, and revealed your true spirit. So fall in love with becoming the best version of yourself, not because the world demands it, but because your soul deserves it. The best version of you isn't someone perfect, it's someone progressing. It's not someone who has everything figured out, it's someone who keeps going even when things fall apart. The secret is simple, the process is the reward. Every breath, every step, every effort, it's all a part of your masterpiece. So don't rush it, don't skip it, don't hate it. Just live it. Love the person you're becoming, and one day you'll look back and thank yourself for not giving up. Because when you fall in love with becoming, you don't just change your life, you change your being.